It's happening. Look at that.
Okay.
That right there is Paul Barker. We are in front of Metro tonight, night 4 of Cold Waves. Paul Barker, the returning champ of Cold Waves. Every year, your presence is felt here. We may know you.
I keep getting beat down, but coming back for more.
It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
People may know you from your time in ministry. People may know you from production work, appearing with a million different bands. You are here tonight on stage at Cold Waves, before Pig and Filter, doing a DJ set, right?
Well, I mean, that's loosely a DJ set, yes. Basically, what I'm doing is live mixing of a bunch of ministry tracks that I've remixed. So it's called Min-Dub Sound System because I'm doing dub mixing. So dub mixing, like in the Adrian Sherwood way of fucking stuff up. It's still going to be super fucking heavy, but so there's nothing dubby, but there's nothing pot smoking about it.
So to help me understand this, you're taking just bits and pieces of the actual sessions and chopping them up and reconfiguring them on stage. Is that how that works?
Well, no, yes and no. So I've already remixed the tracks. I have stems, which means that I have a track that's all kick drum. I have a track that's all snare. I have a track that's all bass. And then I have, a bunch of other vocal samples and stuff like this, and guitars and all of this. So I have multi-tracks coming in to the board.
Okay.
And I'm mixing those.
So this is real mad scientist shit going on stage.
Well, I guess. I mean, for me, it's not, whatever. It comes second nature, but that's only because of the amount of time that I spend in the studio.
See, and it's interesting. And you're just doing ministry stuff?
Tonight, yes, exactly.
My perception, and clearly it was wrong, my perception was you had kind of distanced yourself from your ministry past.
Well, it's true. I did. I mean, in as much as, it was no longer an active part of my artistic expression. I have other things to do. So, in fact, what happened was last year when I finished and released and then toured on a new Lead into Gold record, suddenly I felt like...
There's someone taking a picture through the windshield.
Suddenly
Paul says, you're number one.
Suddenly I realized that, I'm comfortable. I've expressed myself. It's as solid an expression as anything I did before. Mm-hmm. It's okay if I do some ministry stuff, because honestly, it's I don't want to just be known for being, a part of ministry. I mean, I love it. I'm not divorcing myself from that. It's just, I have more to offer. I feel like I have more to offer. And until I actually offer more, then, it's I don't want to just rest on that.
For sure. I get that.
Yeah. I mean, I super appreciate, the love and support and everything. So I'm not, so that's fine.
Are you and Alan talking terms?
We are.
How recent is that?
Last weekend.
Shut up, really?
Yeah.
Last weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to him as of the beginning of last year because 30-year anniversary of Land of Rape and Honey, it's Jason Pettigrew from Alternative Press. He's like, hey, man, you got to do something, with this. I'm like, why do I have to do anything with it? I haven't thought about this in, 12 years or whatever. Right. He's like, no, it's 30-year anniversary. You got to do something. Like, okay, well, here, let me give you Liz's, Al's girlfriend. Let me give you, her number. You can contact them. And so she contacted me, and then I'm like, all right, well, I need to talk to Al. I don't, I don't want to talk to third party, I want to talk to Al, and see what's up. So I talked to him a few times, and then I actually visited him last weekend in LA. He lives outside of LA. Actually, he lives in the city limits, but it's a huge motherfucking city, so yeah.
Was there a man hug?
Was there a what?
A man hug,
Sure, of course.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good news for...
Well, I mean, yeah,
Al is who he
great.
is.
So in other words, whatever, the door's open. So we'll see what happens.
I love hearing that. And I don't want to linger on ministry because, of course, that's not exclusively who you are. But just to stay in ministry for one more question. Yes. What do you think? What album from your time is the most emblematic or the best example? Is it Psalm 69? Is it Rape and Honey? What album to you stands out as the best example of that period?
Well, for me, I think Filth Pig is my most satisfying, not mine, but is the most satisfying record.
Now, I had read that was torturous to make. I had read
it was
that,
quite difficult, yes.
Yeah.
They were all difficult to make, honestly. Of course, there's, many reasons for that, and, whatever, immaturity, and then, hindsight, and all that kind of bullshit, so you live, you're just doing it, it's like, well, you don't have time to step back and say, well, this is really ridiculous, it's like, well, no, these are the terms, what I mean, you either do it or you don't,
right.
And so you do your best, and everybody's involved, and everybody's contributing, to the positive aspects as well as the negative aspects, and so when I say everybody, I mean myself included, so it's not like there's no finger pointing or whatever. It was very difficult to make, and whatever. Of course, our lives are, if you allow yourself to wallow in kind of the what ifs, like why didn't I, what if, woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of stuff. But you can't, it's like so let me just say one other thing about this idea. Everyone, all the time that I was working with Al, everyone was always, bitching and moaning about how long shit took and, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, fuck you. You do it your way. We're doing it our way, like, if you don't like what we're doing, I'm fine with that,
You weren't the Beatles in the 1960s doing an album every year. You had your own pace and artistic tempo.
That's right. Exactly. Sure.
I will say, I was talking with a friend earlier tonight. The Fall really is kind of a dark,
The Fall's
intense
badass.
Oh
I mean,
God.
that record has so many super great songs on it.
It does.
Fuck yeah.
All right, so moving forward,
Yes.
moving the Paul Barker ball forward.
Yeah.
After tonight, and I want to talk a little bit about Cold Waves too, but after tonight, where do we find Paul Barker? Musically, recording, producing.
Well, okay, so I finished a Lead into Gold record last year. It was, kind of a hearkening to the whatever late 80s, early 90s kind of sound.
Mm-hmm.
So I've since written a new batch of songs. I need to finish those after I get off. Actually, tonight's the last show of this short run. So I'm going to finish a new record of my own. And I don't know.
The last one was 5 or 6, longer than that, right? 7 years ago? The last Paul Barker record?
Aside from the Lead into Gold record? Well, yeah, I did that. I did a bunch of music for the Fix film, to accompany that. And then, I worked on that Malekko record with Chris Connolly.
Who's here?
Did some other,
he's one of the patron saints of Chicago and industrial music.
I'm so happy to see him. Anyway,
he does light up a room.
Yes, he does.
Sorry,
it's because he's a queen, So yeah. Anyway, so I have some new material to finish, and I don't know, exactly what's going on with that. I hope to finish it by the end of the year. I'm pretty far along.
You're one of those guys who's always working, who's always...
Well, I mean, so I have, Malekko Heavy Industry. It's a full-time job, and, so my music making is on top of that. And so, I have to force myself to do it. And,
wait, so you're at a point where your music's kind of a side hustle to Malekko?
Well, I wouldn't call it a hustle necessarily, but it is definitely...
That's what the kids say.
Yes. I mean, unfortunately, from my artistic side, yes, Malekko is my primary focus.
That's awesome.
However, my business partner is super supportive, and so, like, for instance, last year I was gone for 7 weeks on tour, whatever. Whatever you want to do, it's fine. So I have to balance my need for creative fulfillment with need for whatever, keeping the business afloat.
Absolutely. All right, and I know you've got to get on stage. I don't want to monopolize your time. Let's talk quickly about Cold Waves.
Yes.
Like I said, you are a returning performer to the stage. The word that keeps coming up, the bands I've talked to so far over the course of this weekend, the word that keeps coming up is community.
Yes, right.
And I mean, just talking about Chris Connolly walking in the room. I saw Martin Atkins earlier. Like, there's a legit community around these sounds, this scene, and it's pretty cool to. I'm not in it. Watching all you coexist is it's fantastic to watch.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to hear it. It's it's a couple of things. Like, all right, there's a bunch of old fogies getting together, and reminiscing or whatever. Okay, so there's that aspect of it. But I think really, the idea of the fundraising aspect of it, which is all important. I don't know, kind of gets pushed aside to the nostalgic aspect of it, which is okay. But I'm super thrilled that there's young bands still kicking it out, and they're able to join in the shows.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled that Jason is able to do Jason Novak is able to do Cold Waves LA, Cold Waves New York. We also did a Cold Wave show in San Francisco this year. So,
that's ambitious, and that's putting together one show is hard to do. Coordinating talent and backline and all that stuff, being able to do it in multiple cities, the fact that they've come this far with it, it's pretty extraordinary.
Oh my God, isn't it though? Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit beyond the community about the importance, the meaning behind tonight. I mean, you being a musician, being in a world where you've seen addiction, you've seen people hit lows. What does it mean to be on this stage year after year and kind of spread the message that people have your back and people...
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I don't feel like a survivor. I feel like, ostensibly I could be, because I'm still alive. But, I feel like I'm still an active artist, actively trying to do things for myself and, for the scene. If you want to throw me in a scene, that's fine. You're right. There are many people who, have difficulties in their life, and it can be a struggle. And so to be able to support something that, hopefully directly influences these people to help them get through, troubled times, I'm very happy to do it. And especially here in Chicago, because although, I guess now when I step back and think about it, I lived here for 6 years. I love that, and I loved coming back here, all the time. And it still feels like, the home of my scene, or my scene is my home, kind of thing. So I'm thrilled to do that.
I love it. Paul Barker, if you're watching this, you still have time to get in to see Paul, Pig, Filter tonight at Metro. It's night 4 of Cold Waves. A fantastic event. A fantastic human being right there, Paul Barker.
Thank you.
Thank you for walking out in the rain to do this.
Almost
this
a tsunami, yeah.
It's just kind of a gross Sunday night. So thank you, Paul.
Okay.
And if you're watching, thank you for watching, and also thank you for listening.
Yeah.